Hello and welcome to the D5151 video review. Today we're going to cover a whole bunch of topics in this entire system. To start with, I'm going to show you that the LCD that comes to the factory is in fact working. As I switch the modes here, you'll see it change. And I've also got my trip computer information there. I can change between the trip computer and the time, and I can choose which setting I want here. And now we'll go ahead and talk about the hardware of the system here. So you've got your power and volume button here on the bottom left. You have the nav button, which starts up your navigation application, a mute button, a mode button, home button to access the main home screen, the eject button for the DVD up here. We've got a play pause button, forward track, back track, and then there's a knob here to select tracks, and these both push in. If you push this one in, you'll get the settings for balance and fade, bass, treble, etc. So you can set your audio settings just by clicking in the right wheel. And this is the SD card player. There is a remote control receiver in the bottom corner there. And both the SD slots here flip up. And you can flip these up. They're covered up so they're not sticking out. And that's pretty much it as far as the hardware goes for the unit. There's also a microphone up in the top corner here for the telephone, and I'll show you the remote. This is the remote here. You can use it to access all of the same functions. So we can skip around tracks here. Apparently it's going to be pointing pretty closely at the receiver in the corner. And this is the SD card player interface. It's the same for the iPod and the USB devices. They're all pretty much the same player interface. So I've switched to track here. As you can see, the title of the song from the ID3 tag and the artist and so forth is all displayed at the bottom there. And you have your usual controls here that all are functioning on the touchscreen. You can play, pause, stop, etc. And also, I'll mention on the display here, you got the time in the corner here, which can be turned on and off, and the Bluetooth icon indicating that the system is connected to my telephone right now. Also, there is a little moon here. This turns into a sun when you're in day mode. And this will actually, if you press the moon, it will turn off the screen. And you just touch anywhere to turn it back on. And the steering wheel controls all function normally. And we can skip backwards or forwards, backwards, mute, and we can also switch modes from the steering wheel as well. So there's a little home button here on the screen, or you can use the physical home button. It's up to you. They both do the same thing. So if we go back to the home screen, this is the main screen that you'll see when you're using the system. And you can see the volume shows up on the system display here. So this is our home screen. You can move icons around from the system here. There's 3 pages. So we can take this icon here, press and hold, and just drag it over. And this, in this case, I missed. But if you really want to move it, you just take it over here till this icon moves out of the way, and then they rearrange. This Internet Explorer, don't be fooled. It doesn't actually do anything useful, so just ignore that. aux takes you into your auxiliary inputs. TPMS, I don't have the tire pressure system, but you can buy that as an optional accessory. And iPod, I don't have an iPod, I don't have a USB player. TV is only if you have a TV unit. which I don't have. GPS is the same thing as a nav button. You got your SD player, your Bluetooth, which is for everything on your phone, the regular radio, and the DVD interface. So we'll go through the settings now. So under System here, we have the time display, which turns on and off the time in the corner there, as you can see. Break detect is to stop you from watching a DVD or video while the parking brake is off. I've turned that off because it's kind of a useless feature. Keystone makes a beeping noise every time you touch the screen, so I have that off. If you have a rear view camera, turn that on. It'll automatically switch to rear view mode when you put the car in reverse. Otherwise, turn this off and so it won't interrupt your music. Nobody knows what parking boot is at this point, so I have no idea. Headlight detect will automatically switch the screen from day mode to night mode, depending on if your headlights are on or off. And GPS mix. If GPS mix is on, your music will be mixed with the GPS voice, and the level is the mix proportion. So if it's, I have mine set to 10, which means the GPS will be essentially 10 times louder than the music. You can go all the way to -10, which will make the music 10 times louder than the GPS voice. So that's another setting. And finally, the FM radio region. This may not be set to USA by default, so make sure you go ahead and change that to where you are. USA and Canada is the same frequency pattern, so USA is correct for either one. Audio lets you set your treble, bass, and subwoofer outputs, and there's also a mixer here, a equalizer, and there's a loud function to make your music louder or softer. And there's, if you hit this little button, I don't even know what this button here is supposed to be, but if you touch it, it changes to the balance screen, so you can change where the audio is playing, which side, and front and rear, and that kind of thing. The video section lets you adjust your brightness, contrast, and color modes. And navigation is where you set your navigation path. GPS monitor shows you which satellites that you're picking up. It'll also show you the raw NEMIA data from the GPS system. You can set the time manually here. It does not properly recognize daylight savings, so I'm back an hour on my time zone. But the GPS sync seems to work. Keep in mind this does not sync with the LCD. You have to set that manually. You can choose from several different languages on the system here. You can program your steering wheel controls if you're using a manual control. I'm using the CAN bus, so I can't really use this section. It's all automatic. Touch is for calibrating the touchscreen. You need a pen or a stylus to do this, so you probably won't be using this unless your touchscreen is acting weird. And the LED light lets you choose the color of the backlight. So I will try and get the whole system in shot here. And I'm going to switch the colors quickly. It's green, it's white, which is kind of bluish. There's a dark blue, there's a purple, and there's an off. So those are the options. I'm leaving mine as red. And logo, you can set your car's logo in here. There's a whole bunch of them to choose from. Since this is a Mazda, though, you're going to find the Mazda logo. And you hit this little button in the bottom here. It says upgrade successful, and now it's stored the logo. And finally, the background screens. There's a bunch to choose from on here. I've also heard on the forums that you can put a background on your GPS SD card, and it will allow you to set that from there as well. So back to the home screen, and we'll go back to the SD player. Put some volume on here. Now these buttons here let you pick between just music, just videos, and I think just pictures. So selected videos, and I'm going to bring up one of the videos that I have on here. And grab a seat, but don't forget to You can touch the screen, it'll bring up the menu. This is actually the same interface as the DVD player. And left and right arrows go between the various menus. There's a whole bunch of different buttons here for different settings for your video, for subtitles and so forth. So that's pretty much it, and we'll stop this. Oops, to get back to the menu, go back to our folder view, and then we can go back to the music again. Now the music seems to play a little bit, or the video, I'm sorry, seems to play a little bit louder than the music itself, but it's not a big deal here or there. And this is the radio interface. So here we are in the radio. Steering wheel controls all still work. Up and down will tune between the presets. The system, you can also use these arrows here to tune back and forth, or you can slide your finger along the bottom. If you use the slide bar at the bottom, it will change your frequencies to even numbers, so just be cautioned about that. You have to go back to a preset to set it back to odd numbers. This is a bug that's hopefully going to be fixed soon. Also, on the display here, it doesn't always display the same frequency that you're actually listening to, so just keep that in mind. I'm not seeing, there's, I think, the RDS information there, yeah, under PS there. So that shows the title of a song and that kind of thing. And to program a preset, all you do is you tune your station here, and you hold down one of the presets, and it stores it. Band will allow you to switch between FM1, FM2, FM3, and AM2, and back to FM1. So you've got a whole bank of presets under each of those settings. Also a search button here. And there's various other settings for RDS that you can see on the wiki with full details.